Have you ever wanted to truly understand the tarot and the deeper symbols and meanings within it, not just as a deck of cards, but as a profound language of the soul? Today I'm going to share a deeply personal project that completely transformed my relationship with tarot, my own handmade tarot grimoire. Now, this isn't just any notebook. It's a reflection of my journey with tarot, inspired by Carl Jung's The Red Book and a deeply personal dream I had that connected me to the very heart of the tarot's symbolism. I believe there are aspects of my own journey with the tarot that could inspire you to take your own journey deeper and to really go from a beginner with tarot into more advanced readings and being able to really understand those symbols for your own journey especially. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made my book and why creating your own tarot guide could be the most impactful way to unlock its wisdom for your own personal growth and wellness. My journey with tarot really deepened as I started to explore the rich world of symbols and archetypes within the tarot. This is also a pretty fascinating overlap with what I've been discussing lately with dream interpretation. Check out my video on dream interpretation with AI. It's really potent and powerful. When I decided to create my own tarot guide, the concept of a grimoire came to mind. For those unfamiliar, a grimoire is a witch's book of wisdom and spells, a deeply personal, often handmade book, which would document everything helpful, life-saving, and supportive from herbal remedies to ritual specifics. I absolutely love the profound intention behind a grimoire. It's a sacred record of learned wisdom, often passed down the generations, or if it couldn't be passed down, then it was even often buried with the witch or burned when she passed. This perspective helped transform my project from just a little notebook to capture notes and ideas into something deeply special and meaningful, a personal symbolic legacy of wisdom for my daughters or even beyond. What truly ignited this project was a really potent dream that I had. In the dream, I was helping women to stitch themselves back to life by embroidering a really unique symbol over their solar plexus, which is our power center. When I woke up, I realized the symbol I had been stitching was Pamela Coleman Smith's signature that she has on every single painting on every card in the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. This deck has made a profound impact in the world of tarot, and it dates back to 1909. Her name has also often been overshadowed by the men who created the deck, the publisher and the writer, and thankfully her name is finally gaining wider recognition today. This dream made tarot come alive for me in a whole new way, solidifying its place as an incredibly helpful and powerful tool for navigating life. I'd heard from many seasoned tarot readers that the best way to learn the tarot is to make your own book of meanings, rather than just relying on the little tiny guidebook that's included in a tarot deck often, or searching online for meanings in the moment. It's really recommended to create your own comprehensive resource to focus your own engagement with the tarot in a really deep and meaningful and memorable way. I found it most helpful to work with multiple sources when I looked for the meanings of each of the cards. Just like any profound symbol, a tarot card's meaning can't be quickly or simply defined. Take the Moon card, for example. It's rich with layers of intuition, illusion, the subconscious, and navigating the unknown. Every single image in this card has a deeper meaning, as with all the cards in the Rider-Smith-Waite tarot deck. I used 3 books and found they offered a really balanced and diverse perspective, truly helping me get at the heart of what each of the cards means. I also supplemented my research at times with insights from an incredible website called Incandescent Tarot. So these were the 3 guidebooks that I used to better understand the meaning of the tarot. I would typically start with this book, which goes into the symbolism on each of the cards. So it will show you, like, here's what the cups mean, here's what the colors mean, and it is really fun to understand the symbols. It's a really good guide. And then I would really deep dive into this book. Rachel Pollack is a really well-known tarot expert, and I even got this book on audiobook because her overall explanations of everything and guiding you through the entire journey of the tarot is fantastic. So she has a section for each of the cards, as well as deeper meanings on each of the suits. This is the most comprehensive guide that I've found about tarot, and so this was a crucial resource. I got a ton of value out of this book. So there are highlights and pages noted all throughout this book. It's fantastic. I also really love this book by Jessica Dore. This has a lot of psychology insights into each of the cards. She has a section for each of the cards, including the major arcana and the minor arcana, and I often found myself highlighting a lot in here because there were so many meanings and interpretations that she brought that really brought the tarot alive for me in a way that the other books didn't. I even gift this book to friends of mine who are just getting started in the tarot because I feel like even if you're not going to the trouble of really learning the tarot thoroughly and you're just getting a deck and you want to have some insights, you could absolutely draw a card each day and just look it up in the book, and you're going to find some really beautiful intuitive wisdom in here. So this is a fantastic book. I highly recommend. My initial process was simple. I'd intuitively draw one card each day, then I'd look up the meaning in each of my chosen books, noting down the nuances. I'd capture the most important themes, keywords, and aspects of that card into Evernote on my phone. This helped me compile a very comprehensive digital database for all the meanings of the cards for myself. When it came time to transfer these notes into my physical book, I realized it was impossible to add every single bit of information to all the pages. So this also became an incredibly helpful exercise. It forced me to process, distill, and choose the most important and resonant meanings for each card. Now, you could do this with any kind of notebook, but I chose this specific type of sketchbook, which I'll link to in the notes below. I wanted to dedicate a single page to every one of the 78 tarot cards, giving each symbol the space and reverence it deserved. I also treated each page as a small canvas. This involved tracing each of the drawings into the book, which was a surprisingly tedious process. First, I would trace around the outlines to block out the space, and then I would use tracing paper and I would roughly trace over each of the cards with the tracing paper and then transfer that into the page on the book. And then I would use watercolors and inks to bring those paintings and drawings to life, trying my best to keep the colors as close to Pamela Smith Coleman's original art as possible, because all of the colors also have a lot of deep meaning and symbolism in them also. Then came the tedious but very rewarding process of transferring the distilled content from my Evernote database onto each page in my own handwriting. This act of writing, of committing the knowledge to paper by hand, cemented the meanings of each of the cards into my mind. I then took this an even further step and I embroidered the cover to make this a truly special book. That plain black cover just wasn't doing it for me. Here on the cover, I wanted to incorporate each of the 4 suits. So the pentacles, swords, wands, or staves, and cups. I also wanted to remember my definition of wisdom that I've found over my life is all about having an open heart, but also having open eyes. And so I thought that was the perfect symbolism for here as well. You'll see I actually took a minute to try to bring in a little bit of that dream symbolism with putting Pamela Coleman Smith's signature stitched into a hand. It's not like the perfect symbolism with the dream, but it was a good reminder of that dream. And so I wanted to incorporate that into the cover in some way. Now, this wasn't a short process. Initially, I thought I'd be done in a month. I even told a few people this, but it ended up taking over a year amidst working on other projects also. But what I realized later is that the longer this book took to make, the more this work could work on me. So I really found that the journey of creation was just as important as the final product, which was a really important lesson for me to learn, since I typically like to see those results pretty quickly and have things and go from idea to completed creation as fast as I can. So I'll just walk you through the book. Starts right here. When you put your own cover onto the book, then you also have to recover this page. And so I thought this was such cool paper. So I put that in and then painted this drawing and then wrote myself a little dedication. I also noted my tarot dream in here. And then I put in these title pages for each of the big sections. So this is the major arcana section. And then I've got some initial notes, the journey of the major arcana. I found these cool stamps that go with each of the cards. If you're curious, let me know and I can put the link in the description. They are so fun. And so I use those to just have a high level view of the major arcana and that journey. And then we get into each of the cards. So you'll see how I traced and painted and outlined, trying to make the cards look close to Pamela Coleman Smith's art, but also letting it be my own. And then put in all sorts of notes. I like using the reversed meanings of each of the cards, so I also included those on each of the pages. For the major arcana, I gave it 2 pages. And then for the minor arcana, I gave it 1 page. Now you will see there are mistakes. This book is not perfect. And so this was a really big lesson to me in not aiming for perfection, but letting it be natural. Like things aren't perfectly aligned all the time. Sometimes the imagery isn't perfect. There's even a page in here where I wrote out all the meaning and realized it was on the wrong page. And so I just painted over the entire page's writing so that I could write the right information on that page. So it's definitely an imperfect book, but it felt important to make it, something that I could do and not get stuck in perfectionism, but something that also could help me learn and still feel precious. So I now look at these little quirks in the book and they feel really precious to me. They feel like they bring a bit of humanity into the book, which I really like. So here we're getting into, so much symbolism for this card. I was trying to squeeze as much as I could into every spare space on that page, on that spread. Some of them, there's a lot more to work with than others, but man, it was so fun. So that's the major arcana, ending with the world. Next, we have the minor arcana or arcana. And then I wanted to give a little bit of insight into the different court cards, the king, queen, knight, and pages. And then I did this cover section for each of the suits. So here's the wands suit, and then you've got the wands cards. Here's that page I was talking about where I painted over all of the text. There are a few that I still haven't put their meanings in, but I'm mostly done with the book. Certain suits I just didn't pull as much, so it's even still a little bit of a work in progress. So there's our wands section. Then we have the cups section, where you can see all of the cups cards. It's funny, even with this not fully quote unquote finished, it still feels finished to me. It's like a living book, Then you have the swords section with each of the swords cards. So you'll see they all just have 1 page. I'm realizing I didn't point this out yet. If you see the gold around each of the cards, I painted that with a metallic watercolor so that it would have a little bit of shine. It just felt like it made the book feel a little bit more magical, and I loved that. So here's our swords, end of our swords section, and then we have the pentacles. So the pentacles section. Some of these, like this one, I just put in a little bit of notes, and I'll go back in and fill it out. So I love that it can take some time. And then I also have some spreads. I should probably do a video about this Core Life spread if anybody's curious, but this is my favorite spread to use. And then I just have other spreads with the intention of filling up all the rest of these pages with additional spreads and information. So that is the tarot book. I've also included references to each of the books and incandescenttarot.com so that I can give credit to where I got these ideas as well. So that is the tarot book. Now for me, tarot is not about divination, fortune telling, or predicting the future. Instead, I've found it to be an incredibly powerful way to better hear my own intuition, discern what to focus on in my life, and gain clarity on my current path. There's often a lot of negativity against the tarot, especially from highly religious people that may believe that it's evil or satanic. However, my experience with the tarot couldn't be farther from that reality. Every symbol and every card offers us profound insights into how to work with our own inner worlds and our outer everyday lives. From a Jungian psychology perspective, the major arcana of the tarot lines up beautifully with the quest for integration and wholeness, also known as self-actualization. The cards represent universal human experiences and psychological states, acting as mirrors to our own journey. Now, if you're still newer to the tarot and you're wanting to better understand the symbolism, the best explanation that I ever heard was that the major arcana really represents those archetypal big moments in life. But each of these cards are about different aspects of coming into our own sense of wholeness and being able to move through our lives. Each of the cards are in essence leading you to the world, which is a symbol of wholeness and peace. So whenever these cards show up, they're really helping you get at some big archetypal energies and understand some bigger themes and patterns that might be happening in your life. The minor arcana deals more with the day-to-day aspect of being a human. Each of the suits has to do with different aspects. So like wands are the energetic domain. So it's like about that spark of life within us, that little fire or spark of life that would help something to grow, like the wand and the leaves coming off of it. So in these cards, you see a lot of symbolism that has to do with fire, as well as that has to do with things growing, going from this like desert kind of a space into a space where you can maybe grow something. And the king, queen, knight, and page really represent our own degrees of mastery over this specific element in our life and how we're doing with it. So just like with a fire, we can either be burning ourselves out with this type of energy, or it can be fueling us and helping us move forward. So even like the symbolism of the Five of Wands, for example, it could look like everybody is fighting, which is more maybe the negative aspects of the card, some contentious aspect, but it can also be a symbolism of play and sport, which could be a more positive aspect of the card and of that wands or fire energy. The cups represent the emotional domain of tarot. So we see in the king and the queen, the knight and the page, that these are all aspects of how we're managing our feelings and working with them. When you get to the king or queen of any suit, this is more about a level of mastery versus the page being more a symbol of initial playfulness and curiosity with that energy. So whenever cups are showing up, they're telling us a lot about what's going on with our emotional life and how we're feeling, and these are really potent symbols. Swords is the intellectual domain, so this is a lot about our thoughts, and just like a sword can be a weapon, it can also be a tool. So the king and queen are all about managing that domain. The king and queen represent a certain level of mastery of our thoughts, where we're able to maybe have our mind in the clouds, but also our feet on solid ground. And then a lot of these images in the sword suit are a big reason why I think certain people have concerns about the tarot, because they can be a little bit graphic when you're just looking at them. But when you understand this is a symbol for what's going on inside of you, especially with your own mind, then you see, like in this image, this has symbols of betrayal, defeat, overwhelm, or a really painful situation. But also, if you pull the card reversed, then you can see it looks like the sword's falling out of the back at that point, which can symbolize that that painful situation is leaving you. It is ending. You are healing. So there is just so much insight in these cards. Then last, you have the Pentacles suit, which is about our behavior. It's also about money and work and the problems of becoming too involved with these things that we forget anything else matters. So king and queen are really masters of this. They've got abundance because they've been able to provide that in their lives with that balance. Or you have the page and the knight that are just getting going on their journeys, and they're just trying things dreams and dreaming about what they could do. Each of these Pentacles cards can relate to different scenarios with working on our dreams and trying to build a sense of mastery. For example, a card that I was pulling a lot when I was in a space of time where I really needed to be focusing on my art and just not getting distracted was this card, the 8 of Pentacles, which is about staying committed, staying focused, and just staying focused on the work. So if you're looking to truly deepen your own understanding of the tarot, or you want to connect with the symbolism more on a deeply personal level, and if you'd like to use the tarot as a tool for self-growth, I wholeheartedly recommend following the advice that I had also received of making your own tarot guidebook. It really, really makes a difference in how those symbols and meanings of the cards can come alive to you. You'll move beyond feeling disconnected and always needing to look up meanings to having an intuitive grasp that empowers your readings and your life. Now, there's no need to go to the great lengths that I went to make a tarot book if that doesn't call to you. There are a lot of resources online that you could even just simply print out the images for each of the cards and then glue them into your book and write your notes into the margins. Have you ever tried making your own tarot reference? Are you currently learning the tarot? Where are you at in your journey? I would love to hear in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this peek inside my Tarot Grimoire, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on personal growth, intuition, conscious and creative living, as well as unlocking your dreams and living a more fulfilled, meaningful life. Always remember that the wisdom you seek lies within. So until next time, keep exploring.